Namaste. Today is Ganesha Chaturthi. So we will talk a little bit about Ganesha and then start the class. So Ganesha's stories are many, and so maybe we will look at his birth, perhaps. So the story starts with Shiva and Parvati. And Shiva and Parvati are a peculiar couple in the sense that at certain times they are extremely intimate and they are always together. And at other times Shiva goes for his ascetic solitude practices. So he goes away from Parvati. And you have to always know that Shiva and Parvati is the mythological characterization. And when it comes to yoga, we relate to them as consciousness and energy. So consciousness and energy are sometimes merged together, and for us, perhaps it merges in the cave of the yoga mat. As you merge your awareness and movement, and in that sense they are kind of mingling together. Okay, so but at other times, your consciousness goes away from movement and energy. So back to the story, Shiva goes away from Parvati, and Parvati is alone, spending time alone. And that brings about its own trepidations. And then she, in that loneliness, she creates a boy out of her own secretions over the body. And this boy is verily her son. But she did not give birth to the son through an insemination by Shiva, but she just became more of herself. Okay, so energy just creating more of itself. And then what happens is Parvati tells this boy to guard the entrance to her house. And so the boy stands guard at that entrance. And then Shiva comes back after his solitude practices. And he comes back, of course he is coming back in the premise that he's coming back to his own house. And as he comes to the entry, he faces his boy who says that you can't enter this house. And Shiva is of course enraged. How can you, this is my house, and how dare you block me? And then a fierce battle ensues. And eventually, even Shiva could not actually vanquish this little boy. Eventually, Shiva enlists the help of the entire pantheon of other divine beings. And finally, this boy gets decapacitated. And then of course Parvati comes out and she's furious that her son the head has been cut off. And eventually peace is restored when an elephant's head is put on top of this boy's where the head was, and the boy comes back to life. And then from then on, it is the elephant-headed being, Ganesha. So this is the story. So what we have to look at is when we form a disconnection as your mind goes off away from the body to other things, and then in that solitude, when the body is not given its attention, what happens is like when the body is going through tensions, it secretes. So its capacity, which is named as fibroblast, it secretes collagen, and out of that secretion guards the doors to movement. So movement is then blocked, and then when you come back to the mat, you obviously have that claim to your body, that this is my body, my movement, and we have an antagonistic relationship to anything that blocks us. Okay, so we want to blast through it, we want to cut it, we want to kill it. And we take that kind of confrontational approach, and then it is a fierce battle. And in which, as the myth goes, and this whole battle, if you really look at it, is also because of a lack of recognition. So Shiva cannot recognize this Parvati as the real essence of this boy. He could not recognize that. Neither could the boy recognize Shiva. So the entire conflict is out of a lack of a recognition. So that is an invitation. So for example, in my case, day before yesterday, I did something and my back got hurt. And for me, that was a deep pain, not in the body, but in my mind. Because people with back problem come to me. So how dare my back gets hurt? I don't like the presence of that pain. And then 2 days later, today, right now, I again go for a similar kind of movement. It's basically, I can't arch the back and I cannot figure out well. So I again went for that movement strongly and my back is deeply hurt again. Okay, so that is the kind of confrontation. So that pain right there at the opening of that movement, in today's Ganesha Chaturthi, I'm seeing it as a Ganesha. I can't simply vanquish it. I can't simply blast through it. I can't simply numb it through a painkiller. Now I need to recognize it. It is there. And then I have to look at strategies. I have to, like Shiva had to call Vishnu and Brahma and everybody for a council as to how to now resolve the situation. So we also have to look at it. We all have confrontations. And in that confrontation, there is an opening possible, there is an insight possible, or there is a continuous block possible. Or in the chakra language, Ganesha is right at the Muladhara chakra. Okay. So that goes well with Ganesha being normally put as the guardian at the door. Okay, Muladhara is the root, is the beginning of our embodiment, and right there is Ganesha. So, but if you look at it deeply, this Muladhara sits right between Ida and Pingala nadis. Ida and the Pingala is our being of duality. Okay, so it is right in the middle of everything too. And there is a paradoxical teachings. Ganesha is at the beginning of any moment, and it's also very present in the middle of everything. Okay, right now, you're in the middle of the opening, sitting, and right now you're also at the beginning of a yoga class. And Ganesha offers a great insight or a block to both of this. So, the whole Ganesha story takes place through a conflict. So, but in the middle of the confrontation, we have that capacity to draw that, teaching that there is a recognition problem. Okay, there is some kind of lack of understanding. We are not seeing the truth of this. And then if we can see the truth of it, if we resolve to look deeper, Ganesha becomes an opening, the door opening. Okay, so towards that and more, let's offer our today's moments. Okay, to find the threshold, to look at blocks and pains and everything as expressions of Ganesha. So namaste position.